Alright, good evening everyone. Let's see if we got this working tonight, or do we got back feed again. We'll see here. We were told that the audio last night was a little bit crazy. We'll see if it is tonight, as we try to figure it out. We're currently in warm-ups right now. Not sure where that went to. It all of a sudden says not found, so give me a moment here as my wonderful telemetry and everything went gonzo. Alright, let's see here. Let's try this again. There we go. Waiting for times to come in. Alright, what's this, sound like tonight? Sound any better than last night? Keep on working on it through here. I think I found what the feedback was. Alright, so with that figured out, let's go back over here. There we go. That should be where we want that. Let me know what that audio sounds like tonight. I might have found out what our issue was as we get set here for the GT3s here tonight. Let me know. As I think that feedback noise we might have been hearing might have been my desk fan, so I turned that off. So hopefully that'll clear some of it up. Alright, there we go. Yep, looks like everything's working okay the way it should be. We're watching here in warm-ups as we got about 10 seconds left. Kurt Bassler out there in the 396 Porsche, laying down a decent time here in warm-up with a 147.401. Jay Davis with a 148. Now, whenever I was out here earlier with these guys, one of them laid down a 143, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that as the night goes on. My quickest time was a 153, so that tells you just about how well I do here in the GT3s. All right, starting out here. Wrong date for sure, as this is the 16th of June, not the 24th of February. We get set here. Starting on pole, that's Travis Roberto. He put down a time of 144.257. There in second will be Mark Nelson. Starting third, Jacob Andrew. Fourth, Chase Matsko. Evan Gomet there in fifth. Kurt Bassler there in sixth. Justin Schumate there in seventh. Jacob Wilson in eighth. Robert Milbrath ninth. Ignacio Arroyo there in 10th. Graham Connolly in 11th. Bryce Brown in 12th. Here in 13th tonight, that's going to be starting PJ Whitland with Robert Howard in 14th, Joseph Spillman 15th, J.R. Davis there in 16th. And then yours truly back here in 17th, sitting here in the broadcast booth, not racing. So let me know, especially if some of you guys that have watched last night's stream, checking out tonight's here at Plinker Farm TV on the poll. Let me know, did we get that issue fixed with the feedback? As I think I might have found out what it was. It was the okay, where did it go? Alright, getting ready for the start of the race. 45 minutes is the race length. Pace car pulls off. Roberto getting ready to lead them to the green. Green flag is out. There we go. Okay, so it is working the way it should. Lap 1 out of how many it takes them to get through 45 minutes. As we head down here into corner number 1 here at Daytona, down here around heading towards the kink. This is where some of the drivers struggling in practice. This right left turn right here. Some of the drivers struggling, and there we see it right there. Some of the drivers back here towards the back. Looks like Robert Howard and Joseph Pillman gets through. Bryce Brown and Robert Howard end up around. All we get down here through off of the next corner down here and through the infield of Daytona Road. Or Daytona infield, whatever you want to call it, as we're side by side there with Chase Matsko and Kurt Bassler. As they head down here towards the exit. Right here, Matsko right there. And look out, Bassler goes around coming off the corner. Got to try to get it down and out of the way, which he does. Now up here off of the racetrack, we got him coming through turn 3 and 4 on the speedway. Well, I'm sorry, no, not 3 and 4. 1 and 2 as they come down the backstretch. Here heading towards the bus stop. Travis Roberto heading in. Here comes Jacob Andrews. He rolls that Porsche in. Kind of cool looking how that's kind of a reptile dinosaur looking thing. Howard once again having issues back here towards the back. And they come down here off the corner. Looking good so far. What a night here for GT3 Racing. And for some reason this is not showing up over here. Let's see if we can go and get the live timing up for you guys. Come on. There we go. There's your live timing tower. They come here off the corner. It says your Regal Wrapz and Designs GT3 Monday Night Series. Robert Howard down on pit road. Robert Milbrath off track. Bryce Brown off track as well. Struggling here tonight is Bryce in that Ferrari. Okay, we can put up the track map here so we can kind of see where everybody is at. A little hard to see here at the nighttime race, but it is up there in the top corner. Now we got Roberto and Jacob up here running 1-2. I was trying to figure out what the paint job was on Roberto's car, but it looks like it's a clown car, clown face out there. Now we got Justin Shoemate there coming through off of turn number 2 out towards that backstretch. Oh, I'm sorry, no, turn 3 and 4. Well, man, I'm getting turned around. Mark Nelson. See if we got a track map here for Daytona. I don't think I do, but we'll look to see. You don't have track map for Daytona yet. Great job here though so far as we see Mark Nelson down there rolling through the inside. Looks to be turn 2. Or is that turn 4? What do we call that? Alright, keep heading through that infield. Robert Howard, he's in the number 50 here. Joseph Spillman in the number 41. Davis here in the 317. Can't come off the corner. 16 drivers to take the grid tonight. I think that's spectacular in GT3 racing as we got a nice group of cars here. There you see Ignacio back here in 6th. Oh, why is that not up? There we go. That'll help. There you got Ignacio back here in that 6th spot. Mark Nelson up here in 4th. Currently running there through and behind Justin Shoemate. Justin Shoemate running that Acura. Got a decent field of cars as well. As you see, we got the Ford Mustang out front. Got the Porsche there in 2nd. And you got that Acura there in 3rd. And then you got 3 Porsches coming along. Before you get to a McLaren, got Corvettes, got a Ferrari out there as well. Spillman having issues. Bryce back here in 13th, missing the front bumper off that machine, but we get back up here to Justin Shoemate, Evan Gomet, and Mark Nelson. All right, we're down into the next corner. Hang on to it there, Shoemate. You don't want to cut off the nose of that Porsche behind you too much. We head on down here through the infield, heading towards the exit of it. We're looking here at Justin Shoemate. Back here in 4th. Mark Nelson moved himself up into 3rd. So coming down here through the bus stop. Heading into turns 3 and 4. They're getting spaced out, but we got a few of them on pit road right now. PJ Wentland and Joseph Spillman both on pit road. Here comes Wentland off. You see Travis Roberto still up front. Whoa, hang on. We got Robert Howard spun around once again. He's going to tow it back to the pits. Take a quick look to see what happened there with him. They come down here. This is where I struggled too. Coming in here in the corner number 1 and just kind of losing it before you even get to the kink. Ends up backing it against that wall, and there you have it. As the leaders come there around him. Roberto back down through here, getting ready to head towards the exit of the infield. On the backstretch, Mark Nelson there 3rd, Justin Shoemate there in 4th, Evan Gomet there in 5th, Ignacio back here in 6th, Kurt Bassler back here in 7th, Chase Matsko in 8th as he rolls around here trying to do a little better than what he did last night. Graham Connolly there in 9th, Jacob Wilson there in 10th, Jay Davis there in 11th, Bryce Brown in 12th, Robert Milbrath there in 13th, PJ Wetland there in 14th, They head on down through here, heading here off the corner. They work there through the bus stop. Howard still down there on pit road. Mark Nelson out there in third. Jacob there in second. We got a battle going on for fourth between Justin and Evan. As Evan's up there on the outside lane. Justin down there on the inside. Heading here. Coming to turn number 1. Tricky spot. Evan holds on to the spot behind him. Working there off. Oh no! Jacob Andrew goes around. He was doing so well there in second. He ends up going around there. Ends up off track. He's going to lose a few spots there. Drops back into fifth after running second for so long. That's just how quickly that little kink there coming off of turn number 1 can really upset your day. Or in this case, upset your night as they come here off of the next corner. You see Evan there in fourth. Justin now up to third. With the help of Jacob Andrew, end up spinning that Porsche around. Ignacio back here in 6th. Kurt Bassler in 7th. Chase Matsko 8th. Jacob Wilson there in 9th. Travis Berto up there in front. Mark Nelson there 2nd. Justin Schumate there 3rd. And right on his bumper, that is Evan, as Evan is really looking here. Looking to the outside, does not get there. Now he's going to look to the inside, can't quite get there. Now, whoa, hang on to it. He gets to the outside. He's going to dive it up there. Ned has to hang on to it there. Quite a move there for that snap-on number 68 of Evan Gomet. And they work down here through the bus stop. He's trying to get that Porsche up there to chase down that Acura. Got Mark Nelson up here in a Porsche as well, but Travis Roberto really showing what that Mustang can do out front here. Justin Schumate there in 3rd. Evan Gomet there in 4th. Jacob Andrew there in 5th. Ignacio in 6th. Kurt Bassler 7th. Chase Matsko 8th. Jacob Wilson there in 9th. And Graham Connolly rounding out your top 10 there. And it looks like, I was hearing somebody say this during practice and stuff, that splitter on that Corvette is a little low, as you'll see the sparks periodically come off of that Corvette coming through the corners. Especially through the speedway sections. They work down through here, through turn 1, through the kink. And down here into the Western Horses, apparently, is what my cameras are called down through that section. There you see Jacob Andrew. He's trying to get back into rhythm. So he works there off of the infield. Sitting back there in 5th. Right behind him is Ignacio. Evans still trying to chase down that Acura. And he's right there to the bumper once again, coming through the bus stop. Heading here, we're at 13 minutes of 45 complete. Please let us know in the comment section if you have anybody special you're rooting for. How about Jacob Wilson back here at 9th, Jay Davis at 11th, Bryce Brown not doing terrible as he's back here in 12th. Struggled there a little bit at the beginning. Now he's without a front bumper and running around there in 12th position. Robert Milbrath back here in 13th. He's struggling here in race 1 of season 2. Justin Schumate there. Evan down here through, heading towards the exit. And on down here, around this last corner here for the infield. He's going to try to get that wide sweep coming off. And get that car up to speed. And from what I was told, the Porsche lacks a little bit of the speed on the super speedway, but I'm just not sure I believe that, as these drivers are doing so well here tonight. Evan now goes up out to the top side. He's going to try to get that position coming down here into the bus stop. Cannot quite get there. Ends up sweeping it down in behind again. Now air coming off the bus stop. Evan still settling for fourth position. Ignacio going on and off track back here. Not sure what's going on with him. As Jacob falls back, like we said, into sixth now, as Ignacio gets around him. Robert Howard once again having issues. Robert Milbrath off track. Some of these drivers are struggling here at Daytona tonight, and I know I was one of them that was struggling whenever I had my GT3 out there. I was running the Mustang. I was struggling there for sections of the race myself. Justin Shoemate there in third. Evan Gomet in fourth. Ignacio there in fifth. Jacob Andrew in sixth. And we got Kurt Bassler there in seventh. Chase Batsko there in eighth. Jacob Wilson ninth. Graham Connolly there in 10th as they come down here through off of the corner here. Through the Western Horses, then coming down here to the exit. And we see Jacob is in jeopardy of going, well, he got back up in the fifth as he got around Ignacio. Kurt Bassler back here in seventh. Chase Matsko really hasn't done any type of change of position here. Head on down through here. 15 minutes out of the 45. So we're a third of the way through the race here tonight. These drivers race around here doing a great job here in the Regal Wrapz and Designs GT3 Road Series. You see Kurt Bassler there in 7th. Got Chase Matsko there in 8th. Travis Roberto there out front. Trying to get as much of a lead as he can as they head down here in the corner number 1. Thank you everyone for tuning in to FFTv here to watch the FMA, the Freedom Motorsport Alliance, Regal Wrapz and Designs GT3 Road Course here tonight. Starting season number 2 down here through the infield of Daytona tonight. Next week we take on the combination of Monza or something like that, from what I understand. So be sure, if you're liking the GT3 races, be sure to check us next week as we take on that track. As we said, we're starting a whole new season here in the GT3s. Honestly, forgot to look to see who our last season champion was. Let's see if we can look that up real fast. Here we go down here. Not sure who it was. We'll have to check on that. And we head on down through here in the corner number 1. And so on. Whatever corner these drivers are at, as Travis Berto works here. Coming there. Robert Milbrath in the pits. Robert Howard, he's struggling here tonight. Joseph Spillman is out. Bryce Brown out here in 12th in that Ferrari. Missing the front end off of that machine after his incident there at the start of the race. See Kurt Bassler trying to chase down Jacob Andrew. Chase Matsko moves it up into 7th as Ignacio drops back into 8th. Now you see Jacob Andrew there. Jacob Andrew was running 2nd for a good portion of the race tonight. Just unfortunate that he ended up falling back, ended up off track and kind of facing the wrong direction there for a moment. Ended up dropping him back into about 5th position. Dropped back a little bit more due to momentum and stuff. Now he's fought his way back up into 5th. I just don't know if he's got anything for these guys running out front, especially Travis Roberto, who's been a phenomenal runner here in the GT3s the last couple of seasons. Justin Shoemate here in 3rd, with Mark Nelson in 2nd. Nelson in that number 86, coming down here in the corner number 1 and into the kink. Justin Shoemate there 3rd, Evan Gomet there in 4th, Kurt Bassler there in 5th. He goes around Jacob Andrew, or trying to, coming down here into turn number 1 and the kink. Cannot quite get there, so Kurt Bassler falls back in behind. Going to try to look to the other side. Now as he comes down here through the infield of Daytona. Head off, looks like Ignacio goes wide there. Chase Matsko hangs on to 7th position. Ignacio trying to fight to get back up there in the 7th. Kurt Bassler there in 6th. Jacob Andrew there in 5th. Evan Gomet there in 4th. Jacob Andrew there 5th. Mark Nelson currently running 2nd as they come there off the corner. Here comes Travis Roberto. Jacob Andrew there, like we said, sitting 5th. See who else. Whoa, hang on to it, Graham, as Graham goes on. Takes a ride down through the infield now. And takes a ride through the grass. Got to get it spun back around, facing the right direction. That's going to cost him a couple spots as he dropped back to 11th. All that grass coming off the new tire model here on iRacing. Chase Matsko here in 8th as Ignacio gets around him. Graham Connolly here in 11th. Jay Davis up 6 positions since where he started. He is up into 10th. Jacob Wilson there in 9th. Oh no, Davis that was Jacob Wilson, I believe, off track. Yeah, Jacob Wilson ended up off track through the bus stop. Got Davis there in 9th. Ignacio up here in 8th. Chase Matsko back in 7th now as he worked back around Ignacio. So those two drivers flip-flopping here. I think Ignacio ended up having some problem. Ended up going off track as well. Jacob Andrew, how he goes off track for another time here tonight. Take a watch of it here as they come through the infield. He works through the kink, comes down here into the next corner, and just kind of sends it around. They had Jacob Wilson in the pits, coming out of the pits now. Chase Matsko up to 6, still down 2 spots from where he's graded up here tonight. Justin Shoemate up 4 positions as he's sitting in 3rd, behind Mark Nelson. Evan still hanging on to 4th. And he's been getting up here to that Acura of Justin a few times, but unfortunately has not been able to capitalize on any of it. Graham Connolly looking like he went back up. Nope. Okay, Wentland goes off track, spun around there, coming out of the exit. Going to tow it back to the pits. Robert Milbrath gone and called it a night. Jacob Wilson back here in 12th. Davis, I mean, he's not doing too bad. He's up 8 positions now as he goes around Jacob Andrew. Up 8 positions here in 8th now. And that's just it. If you can keep it on track, keep a steady pace, you can have an okay finish here in the GT3s at FMA. It's just unfortunate. Somebody like myself, you know, well, 10 seconds off the pace to begin with. Hey, Jacob Andrew coming out of the pits. Here comes Evan Gomet coming there in 4th behind Justin. Kurt Bassler there 5th. Chase Matsko 6th. Ignacio there in 7th. Davis there in 8th with Andrew in 9th. Now he's falling back even more after his pit stop. Connolly has fallen back as now he takes to the pits and is working his way out of the pits. In that McLaren. So now Mark Nelson has the lead as Travis Roberto hands it over to come into the pits. Justin Shoemate comes in. Evan Gomet comes in. Mark Nelson stayed out. Kurt Bassler stayed out here at 25 minutes. Jake Matsko, he stayed out as well. Strategy coming into play. One pit stop is needed to make it to the end. Who's it going to be as these drivers down here work through the infield? As now we see the 13 there. Bryce Brown work off of turn number 2 of the speedway. Heading down the backstretch here towards the bus stop. Jacob Wilson, Jacob Andrew back here in 11th now. Andrew struggling here through the later stages of the race. Chase Matsko up here in 3rd. Ignacio here in 4th. Davis there in 6th. Here comes Roberto as he gets around Ignacio. Or I'm sorry, no, gets around Davis. Sets his sights on Ignacio though. All right, come here off the corner. Kurt Bassler in 2nd. Mark Nelson out there in front. Really trying to keep that momentum up on that 86 machine. He heads there through off of turn number 1 and 2. Here, Graham Connolly is back here in 12. Comes across the line. Mark Nelson, who's the lead lap car, down here in the 24 of Jacob Andrew. Off track again. Down there through that hairpin, that first hairpin. Through that infield. Mark Nelson now on pit road. Kurt Bassler also on pit road. Chase Matsko coming into pit road. Ignacio, what's he going to do? Ignacio comes in. Roberto, he's coming there off of turn number 4 of the speedway. Mark Nelson, he's on the move. There you see Roberto. It's going to be tight coming down here. Roberto comes there through the kink. Nelson coming there off pit road. He's right there with Roberto at the moment. Question is, does he have anything for him? Roberto definitely has a number on this track tonight. I head down here into the next corner, coming here through the infield. Not sure if everybody's made a pit stop or not. Everybody's made a pit stop, so see if that makes any difference here. Roberto retakes the lead. Nelson there in 2nd. Evan takes over 3rd from Justin. Justin falls back a little bit, ends up in 4th. Kurt Bassler back here 5th. Jake Matsko 6th. Ignacio back here 7th. Jacob Wilson 8th. Now we're coming up slowly to 15 minutes to go. And you see Bassler coming down there into the bus stop. There's Jay Davis sitting in about 9th. Working down through off of turn number 4 of the Speedway. Oh, I'm sorry, no, turn 2 of the Speedway, coming down to the bus stop. Looking real good here tonight. Here they go off of the corner. All right, down the backstretch there, you're looking at Jacob Wilson in that number 28 coming into the bus stop now. All right, now you see Roberto working his way on through. That's Evan there in 3rd. Under 15 minutes to go now as they race down here through the infield of Daytona. You got Travis Roberto out front in that clown car. He works here off the exit of the infield, heading there through turn 1 and 2 of the racetrack. They head down there onto the backstretch. Through the bus stop goes Travis. Everybody looking good so far. As you got Roberto out of Woodbury, Minnesota. Graham Connolly back there in 10th. There we're looking at Bryce Brown. Finally got a bumper put back onto that machine after so much, after that issue there on the first lap, or early on in the race. Got that front bumper back on that Ferrari. Looking a little better now. He's got Roberto coming there behind him, trying to hang on to it. That Ferrari just not wanting to cooperate for Bryce Brown tonight. And right in front of him is Robert Howard in that number 50, that gold machine, that gold Mustang. He's struggling tonight as well. Evan ends up going around off track. That might cost him a position, as that allows Justin to catch up. Take a quick look here at what happened to Evan there coming through the turn. Heading on down through here off of the corner, heading down into corner number 1. And this is such a tricky corner, and he just kind of laid it all out there. Ends up going around. Back to the live action here from Daytona. Evan there in the third. We just saw him kind of go around there. There you see Bryce Brown on the backstretch. Coming up behind him is Travis, along with Mark Nelson. What type of issues is this lap traffic going to play for these two drivers? Here comes Travis. He's going to the inside here through turns 3 and 4. He's got the momentum. He'll get by Evan, or I'm sorry, not Evan, but Bryce. As Travis Berto there works up there, trying to get there now to Robert Howard. As now Howard goes and has to find out which way he wants to go as he takes it wide coming here into corner number 1. I'm going to ride up through the trioval, heading here towards 1. I'm going to allow him to drive down in there along with Bryce. Mark Nelson now has work cut out for him as he's got to try to make work of this lap traffic as well. Now you see him back there in that black and red Porsche. There he gets around him. Out of Pierre, South Dakota. Mark Nelson now works there off of the corner. Whoa, where did Bryce go? There's Bryce. Disappeared there for a moment off my screen. I don't know if he disappeared off of yours, but he definitely disappeared off of mine. As you see, Nelson now gets around him. Now he's trying to set sights back on Roberto. Just unfortunately, that Mustang looks really strong out front here tonight. There you see Justin getting caught up there with Evan now. These two have been battling out all night long here. Under 10 minutes to go now between this Acura and this Porsche. It's been quite a battle between Gomet and Shoemate. Portland, Connecticut for Evan's hometown. They head here off the corner, heading towards the backstretch. Coming through 1 and 2 of the Super Speedway here at Daytona. Everybody's trying to keep their car on track. The last one to go off was Evan. Kind of cost him some time there as that allowed Justin to catch up, as you see there through the bus stop. Back on down through turn number 3 and 4. They head on back out here towards the trioval at Daytona. Down here in the turn number 1 and that dreaded kink. As here we see Evan now. They're in third. Justin all over his back bumper as they work here off of the corner, heading out of the exit of the infield. And down here through turn 1 and 2, Evan there still trying to get everything working to keep that Porsche up there in third to start season 2 off okay. As you got Justin right there with him as they work through the bus stop. Definitely been a battle all night long between these two. Mark Nelson, he's still trying to catch up to Travis out here in front. There's only a second that separates these two. As Nelson's really trying to push it hard now. Now we're coming there to 5 minutes to go. As Roberto's out front. Nelson there in second. Justin just made the pass here. Here comes Evan once again down there to the inside of that corner as they work down through one, heading through the kink. And Justin still hanging on there to fourth place, but these two are going at it. All right, as they work on down through here. Mark Nelson coming off the corner. Trying to catch up to Travis. Justin ends up still trying to get up here to Evan. Trying to get that third spot away from Evan as they work on down through here. He did for a split moment, but Evan got back around him on the inside, working through turn 1 and the kink. And now you see Justin ends up getting a real good run, ends up getting to the outside there. Side by side, coming there off of corner number 4 of the super speedway down through the trial down here into corner number 1. Evans got the better line down there as they work there off of the kink. Here comes Justin once again. He's going to see no crossover there as they work down here into the next right-hand corner. Berto now hanging on to the lead with Mark Nelson there right behind him. So two great battles going on the speedway right now. One here between Roberto and Nelson. The other one between Evan and Justin. Kurt Bassler back here in 5th. Chase Matsko in 6th. Ignacio back here in 7th. Davis back here in 8th. Jacob Wilson back here in 9th. Graham Connolly back here in 10th. Then you got Bryce Brown back here in 11th. And Robert Howard just trying to make it through the race here tonight. Everybody else beyond that point has called it a night. Took their cars back to the trucks. Evan hanging on to 3rd right in front of Justin. Roberto hanging on to the lead right there in front of Nelson. Should get interesting here. We're coming down to 2 minutes to go. So I'd call this 2 laps to go as they come up here heading towards the stripe. Nelson knows what he's got to do to try to get this win. Roberto is out there in front right now as they come down here into corner number 1. Heading towards the kink. 2 laps to go. Is what I would most likely call it. They might be able to get around for one more as they come down here into corner number 2 down here around. Justin and Evan still battling it out. Justin all over the back bumper of Evan. Graham Connolly ends up around. Travis Roberto. What happened to him? Oh my. Roberto was having a great run. What happened to him here as he works here? Just pushed it too much. Ends up around. Ends up in the infield grass. Wow. worked so hard to get that car around. Roberto then rage, and must be enraged with himself that he's not here at the track no more. Evan Gomet there in second. Now as Justin's there in third, that changes this all up, as now this is a battle for second and third instead of third and fourth, as these drivers battle it down here through off of the corner. Mark Nelson, he works there off the bus stop. Hey, whoa, hang on to it there, Justin, as he gets down there. No, you can't get down there, Devin. He's got the pass coming down here into the bus stop. Justin's got that pass made. Now can he hold on to it? Evan's been a strong racer this whole evening, especially whenever he's have to be behind Justin. These two, like I said, have been battling it out all night long, since the drop of the flag pretty much. Nelson down here through the final lap now, as he's coming through off of the corner. Hey, drivers come out of here. White flag in the air, I would assume, here for Mark Nelson. See what the flagman does here. See if we can see the flagman. Oh, he still hasn't waved the white flag. It's still got the green in his hand, so I don't know. Is there one more lap? I would have thought it was over. Mark Nelson works through off of the exit, coming through 1 and 2. Robert Howard ends up off track once again. Brings it down on the pit road. Justin and Evan still battling it out for that position. Bumper to bumper, Evans right there as they come here off the corner. Checkered flag is out. Coming here off of the final corner. Who's it going to be? Down here. Whoa, man, hang on to it. Who is it going to be? Evan gets him by a nudge. Evan gets second place over top of Justin. What a finish there between those two drivers. Kurt Bassler comes in here fourth tonight. Now we're just waiting on some of these other drivers to finish up. As you see, Jacob Wilson coming through. Graham Connolly working his way through the track. And we see, as we said, that the sparks just flying off the splitter on these Corvettes tonight as they work through the corners of the super speedway. Putting on a little bit extra light show off of them. They come down through off of the finish line there. I think all we're waiting on now is Graham to finish. As Howard ends up spun around once again. Graham Connolly coming there off of turn 3 and 4. That one's throwing sparks as well off of the McLaren, so I don't know. Some of these downforces on these cars are really throwing some of the spark showers off of these drivers. He comes there off of the corner down across the stripe. Robert Howard working there through off of the corner. Man, oh man, what a night there for Mark Nelson. Evan, great race for him as he ends up coming back to get second. Howard working up here towards the bus stop. We're waiting on Howard to come across the line for our race results. Let's get with our third place finisher, Justin, possibly. Good evening there, Justin. How's it going?
It's going, my man.
Well, you put on an okay show there in finishing third. I mean, you had one heck of a battle all night long.
Yeah, me and Evan were going back and forth the whole race. I mean, he's a heck of a driver. He got me right there at the very end. I couldn't ask for a better race.
Yeah, you definitely ended up getting a great race here tonight, and couldn't ask for anything better. I mean, it was a tough race there. Just unfortunately, you couldn't hold them off there at the end.
No, I told him off there at the beginning, and we pitted, and he got out of the pits a little quicker than I, and then he had a spun out. I finally caught back up, and I couldn't hold him off there at the end. That straight line in that course, he had me.
Well, you did a great job. I mean, either way, we're starting a new season of these GT3s. You must feel pretty good getting it started here tonight with at least getting on the podium at least.
I have absolutely no complaints at all. The track was slick out there. The Acura roads were pretty good, and this is my first race of this season with this league, so it feels great, man. It was all around a great race.
All right, well, congrats. And you got sponsor shout-outs. Anybody you want to thank for helping you get into third spot tonight?
Absolutely. I'd like to shout out Sim Motion. They really got all my stuff set up, and ADHD Hobbies, and that's about it.
Alrighty, well, congrats again on third place tonight. Hopefully we'll see you next week as we get started with a brand new GT3 season.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. You have a great night.
All right, that was Justin, our third place finisher. Now we'll see if we can get with Evan. Good evening, Evan. What a battle you had all night long between you and Justin. You ended up getting them there at the line to bring out second place. You must feel pretty excited with that.
Yeah, it was a great battle. Pretty much the whole race. If I didn't spin out there, didn't make a mistake, it probably would have been easier. But it was fun.
Well, I mean, it definitely came down to the wire, and you definitely did a great job there getting second place tonight. Did you feel like you had a second place car, or were you just kind of hoping for the best?
Honestly, I had a third place car, and unfortunately the leader had an issue in the International Horseshoe and broke it. But no, running third all night, or fourth pretty much most of the night behind the 333. Still a good race though.
It was a great race to watch, and hopefully we'll see you next week as we start this brand new GT3 season. I mean, must feel pretty good. Hopefully you can keep this momentum going. You got any sponsors, shout-outs, anybody you want to thank for getting into second place tonight?
Yeah, I think my sponsor, Hometown Garage, let me be able to do this. I want to thank my mom and dad, I know they're watching. Thank Chase for the paint scheme, the beautiful paint scheme he made me. I think it's great. And Chase for, I don't know if he's the runner of the league, but he seems to be pretty much in charge here. He does a great job.
He's one of a few of us that kind of take charge.
Yeah, thank you for broadcasting. You know, it's a great broadcast, so thank you.
Alrighty, well, congrats there, getting that second place tonight, and hopefully you, I don't know if you're joining in any of the other series, like the Gen 4s tomorrow, Wednesday night, sorry, or Xfinity on Sundays, but we definitely, we'll be back next week with the GT3s. Hopefully you can continue this momentum in the season.
Yeah, I will be there.
Alright, you have yourself a great night, Evan, and we'll see you then.
Alright.
Alright, that was Evan, our second place finisher. Now we'll get with Mark. Good evening, Mark. Not quite the way you wanted to get the lead, I'm sure.
Yeah, it is a little bit cheap right now, because I was catching Travis. I assume you were watching and noticing that, and so I felt like I had a chance, and I just wanted the chance to try to get up beside him, and he spun out before I got that chance, so I was
he might have pushed a little. he might have pushed a little too hard in the one corner.
Yeah, I could tell. I think the reason why I would catch him so quickly towards the end of a fuel run is the back of his car must have been getting pretty hard to drive, because it just didn't seem like he could hold the pace that he had been before.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, for that Mustang, he was still setting a pretty decent pace out there, but I mean, them Porsches, they seem to really be on target tonight.
Yeah, it really is. The car kind of chooses the driver in a way, and because of my driving style, it is the car for me. So I don't know if it's the best car necessarily, but it's definitely the car that fits me the best.
Well, and that's just it. I mean, you definitely do have to really see which driver, you know, what your driving style is to really find out what car fits your driving style.
Yeah, you almost have to go drive every single one for a few hours just to figure it out. Because some of the cars are front engine, some of them are middle engine, and some of them are rear engine. And that makes a difference when you are getting in the brakes, getting in the gas, and the way that you swing the weight of the car around. So depending on your right foot, makes a difference which car you pick.
Unless you're bullheaded like me and I'm going to drive the Mustang no matter what.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Adam. We'll get you into the light side one of these days, but right now I just don't know if we can be friends.
Oh, it's all good. I know that Mustang's got the power to race. It's just a matter of me harnessing it correctly.
Yeah, it seems to be fast, but it does seem to maybe require a little bit more finesse and a little bit more driving. I think the Porsche is hard to drive too at times, but it seems like the Mustang gets a lot of complaints.
Well, and like you said, it almost depends on the track too. Because I took it out to Pocono International, the road course there, and I thought I did okay, but again, I didn't have anybody to really stack up against to know whether or not my time was good or not. Like tonight during practice, I went ahead and took my Mustang out there, and I'm 10 seconds off the pace.
There's a reason why people get high I ratings in this stuff. There's a lot of hidden speed out there.
Oh yeah, there is, and I just haven't found it. It's still hiding from me.
It takes a lot of laps. It takes years. It really does.
Especially for somebody that's mostly running dirt.
Yeah, if you haven't started on your years, it's not going to come quickly, and I find that getting tutors for it can help a lot. There's some good resources out there on the internet to give you pointers on where to put your car through the corner, and those help a lot. But you still have to execute it on your own too. So it just takes laps. And
that's the most thing I think is you know, you practice so much, and the biggest thing with practice is don't get set in your ways.
That's exactly it. Is you can practice a lot, but if you're practicing the wrong thing, you're not going to become the best.
Exactly. You can practice, but it don't mean that you gotta be willing to change something.
Yeah, there's a certain point where practicing gets you comfortable with the weight of the car and the just the way that the car is balanced. But at some point, you do have to start working on technique.
Well, I think that's with any racing, but you did a great job out there. I mean, started coming on stronger at the end, unfortunately, Travis ended up spinning it around there, coming out of the corner, lending you to get the lead there. And you didn't really look back. You held on to it, raced your race that you needed to. And
yeah, that's right. I usually drive within my ability, and a lot of the time I come out on top. But sometimes I'm just not as good as some people, and it paid off tonight. I just kind of drove right up against my ability line, and it paid off at the end. After he spun out, I was like, all right, I'm going to back it down just a little bit just to make sure that I don't go face first into a wall with 1.5 laps to go.
Yeah, that would have been bad. You got sponsor shout-outs? Anybody you want to thank for helping you get the victory here tonight?
I would just say thanks to everybody that is watching and supporting your channel and supporting me through this, and thanks to my wife for her support as well. And thanks for your broadcasting, Adam.
All right, well, you have yourself a great night there, Mark, and we'll see you in the next race, I'm sure.
See you Wednesday.
All right, we'll see you Wednesday. All right, that was Mark Nelson, our winner here tonight. I'll go ahead and bring up our results here. Mark Nelson, your winner. Evan Gomet there in second. Justin Shoemate there in third. Kurt Bassler fourth. Then we go on to Chase Masco in fifth. Ignacio there in sixth. Jay Davis there in seventh. Jacob Wilson in eighth. Graham Connolly in ninth. Bryce Brown there in 10th. Travis Roberto in 11th. Robert Howard there in 12th. Jacob Andrew 13th. PJ Whitland there in 14th. Robert Milbrat there 15th. And Joseph Spillman will finish out in 16th tonight. And in last place there is me, your broadcaster tonight. As I did not race, I was bringing you the show. So hopefully everybody enjoyed it here as we get ready to sign off. Thank you everyone for watching. And we'll see you Wednesday night for the FMA Gen 4s. Brought to you by Flieger Farm TV. Thank you so much for watching.